Hey, how you doing? This is Adam Post, publisher of more than 1,000 comic books and marketing expert covering Hollywood panics as woke movie flops threaten to bankrupt movie theaters. Let's get into the story. Before we do, please be sure you are subscribed to the channel. Click the bell for notifications. Give me a thumbs up. I really appreciate you guys. Coming from The Hollywood Reporter, Aron, CEO of AMC Theatres, brushes off box office woes. Quote, "It's inconceivable that AMC would file for Chapter 11. But other movie theater chains have already filed for bankruptcy. This is what they're so concerned about. From Bloomberg, poor box office sends 100-year-old theater chain into bankruptcy. And also from Bloomberg, Cineworld, which owns Regal Cinemas, files for bankruptcy in bid to cut $5 billion in debt. Cineworld did come out of bankruptcy. Also from The Hollywood Reporter, Cineworld emerges from Chapter 11 bankruptcy and Sarnoff joins the board of directors. AMC is not necessarily going to go bankrupt, but it certainly could go bankrupt, and Hollywood is concerned. The CEO of the world's largest movie theater chain is in Las Vegas this week for CinemaCon, where AMC's fate is a hot topic among rivals and major studios. CinemaCon is the official convention of the National Association of Theater Owners. And if they're talking about the #1 theater chain going bankrupt, you can see why they're concerned. Aron, as always, remains unruffled by widespread talk of AMC Theatres' financial woes. At CinemaCon, the annual gathering of exhibitors and Hollywood studios that's underway in Las Vegas, there's loads of chatter as to the financial health and future of the world's largest theater circuit, and whether a restructuring is in the offing. According to Aron, who sat down with The Hollywood Reporter, the answer is an emphatic no. A restructuring would mean they would go through a bankruptcy. That is exactly what Cineworld did with Regal Theaters, and they were the second largest theater chain. If the bankruptcy happens, it's going to hurt the entire movie business. Here's what Aron had to say. Quote, "Personally, I think it's inconceivable that AMC would have to restructure like Regal Cinemas did and file for Chapter 11. One of the things I'm very proud of is that going into the pandemic, AMC was in a very strong position. We are the biggest and best movie theater chain in the world. Somehow, all of us on this planet got handed COVID as something to deal with. And the movie theater industry has been hit quite hard by COVID. And the labor strikers were a double whammy. We're already at the 4-year mark since COVID shut theaters down in March 2020. And the box office is still not back yet to where it was before." When he's saying the box office is not back to where it was before, he's talking about before the pandemic. Even with growth in population, even with inflation, they still can't match their old revenue from years ago. Quote, "Having said that, and it's not just me who thinks it, AMC has been more creative and more successful in trying to cope with COVID than just about any exhibitor on the planet," he said. While laden with $4.5 billion in debt, AMC has enough cash on hand to get through 2024, according to Aron. Is $4.5 billion a lot of debt for a company like AMC? Yes, it's an excessive amount, a lot of debt for a company like AMC. Keep in mind as well, really, AMC's revenues do come from movie theaters. So if they have hit movies, they're fine. If people love going to the movies, they're doing okay. However, if people don't like going to the movies, or they just don't even bother to go to the movies at all anymore, that's very destructive for AMC. It's also bad for the Hollywood studios, but the Hollywood studios do have multiple ways of generating revenue. Even Paramount has multiple ways of generating revenue. Disney has the theme parks on top of streaming, on top of licensing, multiple sources of revenue. But AMC and movie theater chains do not. After 2024, Aron thinks it will be smooth sailing since Aron is predicting a robust 2025 and 2026 at the box office. Once earnings improve, everything else does too. So I actually think the problem has already been solved, which makes me quite optimistic and enthusiastic, but we have to just get there. The CEO said, AMC's cash balance was $885 million as of December 31st, 2023. Quote, "That's money in the bank. It suggests to me that not only have we weathered the storm so far, but to the extent that there's any storm left, we will weather that as well. There's almost no scenario that I can foresee where we don't have enough cash to make it through 2024. Literally now, he's talking about, yeah, we should be able to make it through 2024 unless something else happens I can't envision. Like, you are the #1 theater chain in the United States, really in the world. And you're talking about the potential of maybe not making it through 2024. Sure, you should be able to make it through 2024 if there are no surprises, but We've had nothing but surprises, not only in the movie industry, but in larger society ever since 2020. It also wouldn't mean if they filed bankruptcy, it would be the end of the business. It's not like they would liquidate all the movie theaters, but they probably would close a large percentage of them. Companies, when they restructure in a bankruptcy, if they're not completely liquidated, and no one thinks that AMC would be completely liquidated, but if they're not liquidated, a large percentage of their operations usually are cut back on, which means no growth for Hollywood in movie theaters. The CEO continues, but everything that I see tells me that 2025 and 2026 are going to be gangbusters, he continues. And that means our cash flow is going to go way up. And so I'm already looking ahead, and I'm quite relaxed about where our company will be and where our industry will be looking forward, which is a much different circumstance than it was in January and February of 2024, which of course was a debacle with revenue down 20% year over year. Year over year is referring to 2023 to 2024. When you compare 2024 to pre-pandemic numbers, it's much, much, much lower. Like other theater chains, AMC is grappling with a dramatic downturn at the box office so far this year because of the delays due to the strikes. The box office downturn was the second big crisis following the pandemic. After its latest quarterly earnings were disclosed on February 28th, Wall Street analyst Eric Handler at Roth MKM doled out a glass half full and half empty view for AMC. Quote, improvements have been seen on the top line, which is revenues, with average revenue per patron up 31% since 2019, Handler wrote. However, profit is significantly lagging. Average cash flow per customer was down 18%, and cash burn remains considerable. Liquidity isn't an issue with $884 million in cash on hand, but net leverage remains high at 9 times. When the analyst says that cash flow per customer is down 18%, that means they're making less money on everybody that goes through the door to go watch a movie. And when he says cash burn remains considerable, he means they're losing money. He means they're not generating enough cash to cover their expenses. They can have money in the bank, but like we all understand, if you start spending money out of your bank account, not out of your earnings, eventually you run out of money in that bank account. AMC already has a lot of debt, with their net leverage at 9 times. 9 times is a high number. 10 times would be higher, but 3 or 4 times net leverage would be a much more healthy company. That's why the conversation of bankruptcy with AMC is even coming up at all. Aron has taken several unorthodox steps to help fill the gaps. Late last summer, he took the unprecedented step of distributing Taylor Swift The Eras Tour after Hollywood studios passed on the terms presented by Swift and her team. The movie, which AMC showed in its own theaters as well as licensed out to other theater chains, became the most successful concert film of all time with more than $261 million globally. AMC next distributed Renaissance, a film by Beyoncé, which did far more modest business but was a smart branding opportunity. The CEO told The Hollywood Reporter he would certainly consider distributing more films, but that they would have to make sense. This is actually a great idea for AMC. They have the #1 theater chain. If they can distribute more films, if they can somehow guarantee a certain amount of distribution for filmmakers, they could turn this into another whole separate line of business for them. And being focused on movie theaters the way that AMC is, they could make sure that they have movies to show that people are actually interested in. These would have to tend towards more lower budget projects, or like Taylor Swift's movie, be some kind of a concert project that was already being done and being sold into multiple platforms, maybe even broadcast on cable or broadcast through pay-per-view. But being in control of the #1 theater chain in the world should do something for AMC. They have to figure this out because they clearly can't count on movie studios anymore. Movie studios are not thinking about theaters the way they used to think about theaters. No one sells more tickets for studios than AMC, Aron said. We are totally committed to leaning in and supporting the product that studios are offering the public to see. Having said that, we only sell 15 to 20% of our available seats in the course of a year. So we have a massive amount of excess capacity. Nothing would make us happier than to get that additional studio content. But in addition to that, if we're able to be successful in finding other content that we can put on screen, we'll do that too. AMC also started a spin-off retail popcorn business, which has expanded into grocery stores carried by giants Kroger and Publix after first teaming exclusively with Walmart. All told, the popcorn is carried in about 6,000 stores. Since it's a side business, AMC doesn't have to report sales. Aron said the program has been very successful, but didn't provide numbers. Separately, he did reveal, however, that customized popcorn holders costing upwards of $20 have generated $54 million in revenue over the past 5 years. That's still not a significant business for them, but every little bit extra does help. Meanwhile, the executive faced something of a backlash recently when it was revealed in a securities filing on April 5th that he received compensation of $25.4 million in 2023, up from $23.7 million in 2022 and $18.9 million in 2021. That included a base salary of $1.5 million and stock awards of $17.9 million and non-equity incentive plan compensation of $6 million. Somehow, no matter what's going on with these executives, they're always finding a way to make multiple millions of dollars. You got to admire that. Aron took to Twitter to explain the pay issue to assuage any disgruntled shareholders, noting, "The draft policy shows I was awarded AMC stock in 2023 that I cannot sell anytime soon, valued using SEC required methodology of $17.9 million. At yesterday's closing share price, it was actually worth $1.3 million. So my compensation, valued presently, was $16.5 million less." These executives get stock awards and then they usually aren't able to sell them right away anyway, or they get options and can't turn that into cash right away anyway. But is it a lot of money? Yes, it's a lot of money. Do you want to find someone else to be the CEO of AMC? At least he hasn't turned it into a bankrupt company so far, and he was able to help make it a meme stock. He has played the game very well. They raised a lot of money in debt to keep the business going. I don't see anybody better to be the CEO of AMC than this guy, Aron. But that's not really the issue. The issue for AMC is they're only a movie theater chain. Yes, they can sometimes distribute extra concert films the next time Taylor Swift or Beyonce wants to do a concert, record it, and then put it into movie theaters. They can also do a couple of other small projects through their movie theaters, and they should do that to make extra money, just like they should be in the popcorn business. Why not? If they can make money doing it, let them make money in the popcorn business. But ultimately, they are a movie theater chain. They're not just a movie theater chain. They're the #1 movie theater chain. Hollywood studios have to give them viable movies that people actually want to see, and that people actually want to see more than once. If they don't have that, they don't really have a business. And that's the problem. Let me know what you think of all this in the comments below. Always love to see your ideas. Please be sure you are subscribed to the channel. Click the bell for notifications, give me a thumbs up, and I'll see you again soon with another story. And if I don't see you, I will miss you.